Okay, our final guest speaker of today is Beardo Gets Scared. So please, warm welcome.
Genuinely, I thought the entire room would empty. Before I get into that I want to make a special thanks to Neil and the guys from the Priest Cottage for debunkers to be nominated for awards, invited to speak at paranormal events. I think that's the shift that the paranormal needs, where we are looking into what's real, separating fact from fiction, maybe bringing in a bit of science and a bit of logic. Because there's another debunker here tonight, Mike from Real Evidence. Give a wave. We, in the last probably 3 years, have spent thousands and thousands of pounds on equipment, fuel, wear and tear in the car, going to these haunted locations, not to disprove it, because we want to experience what everyone else experiences. And to be invited by the Priest Cottage, I've gone there with a fantastic time with those guys, to have other locations reaching out, Amy's Crypt reaching out, this was months before this, to go to the cage. I think that's just a massive step in the right direction. Invite the skeptics, take the bull poo out, and let's work together for a better paranormal. And then we'll get into the normal stuff. You can clap if you want. So I've got a question for you guys, and I want hands. How many of you believe in the paranormal? How many of you believe in ghosts?
Yes.
Right, so less, that's good. How many of you think that debunkers ruin the paranormal?
Oh, no, sorry.
Why are you ruining it for me now?
I got confused.
Please, so my talk is about debunkers and the paranormal, because you guys seem fine and you've ruined my entire thing. There is a misconception that debunkers don't believe, don't want to acknowledge the existence of the paranormal, that we're only there to say it's bull, people are fake, people are lying. Now, debunking, the definition of it is to remove the falseness from a claim. And that falseness doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's pulled this stuff. You might be able to see it in the front row. If I turn in certain lights, you can see it infrared, it glows and people forget. I have gone into locations and I have seen this stuff, the drawing pin on one end and then blue tack on the other. Oh, you can't prove it's a string because you didn't see me pull. Well, not if you blue tacked it and pinned it to your shoe. I've seen that in a number of locations, and a fake ghost hunter actually grassed a lot of people up for it, which was hilarious. Initially, I was going to get a bottle on you and I was going to pull my leg and get a bottle to fly off and be like, oh, did you see that? And then Kev ruined it for me last year because he did the same thing. Sorry, I'm normally used to just staring into a camera, so it'll make me feel better. Beardos, boils and ghouls, how are you all doing? So, some of the accusations that skeptics get, because I imagine if any of you being investigators, you're skeptical. You're not going to believe absolutely everything is a ghost every time. Or you will believe until you investigate and nothing happens at 30 strike. You know, like, I've walked in and a plate didn't fly across the room. That's not, in my experience, how the paranormal, don't page. So, debunkers, for a long time, we've been seen as the villains of the paranormal, like just going to explain everything away. that one of the biggest arguments, me and Mike get this all the time, is you're so close-minded. And I'm like, are we close-minded? Because we look at everything. We want to see a ghost. We want to see poltergeist activity. But we want the truth. I don't want to be lied to or mistaken, because when I was much younger, I believed everything. I believe I've seen a ghost. I believe that me and Mike had an experience at Llanrumney Hall in Cardiff. Our cameras didn't pick it up, but we both heard the most horrendous growl. And on camera, it's just Mike going, did you hear that? And me going, it's behind me, it's behind me. Oh, there's nothing there. But it was the feeling just before it happened, because I was already getting the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. And to anyone that watches Ghost Adventures or Most Haunted, what we had, it's a bit shit, isn't it? A little growl could have been his stomach, but we know it came from behind us and it shouldn't be there. To us, that's incredible, because we don't experience things that often. I've been to 30 East Drive 7 times, but over 9 nights. And I've had 2 really bizarre nights there, but then everything else is just nothing. But that's the paranormal in a nutshell. It's so rare that when it happens, it's something small, and that something small to Ghost Adventures fans is nothing. To us lot that investigate, it's absolutely incredible. It's like I went to East Drive to just call it out for what it is, a council house. And twice I went and I was like, it's just a council house, there's nothing, it's next door. And the 3rd visit, I'm like, I don't know if I can sleep in here, because I was scared of the house. There'd been other videos where friends of mine, one of them got his chest, it looked like something compressed his chest in a bed. And that scared me. And these guys are not known for fakery. Absolutely incredible. And then for me to go to 30 East Drive and then actually experience, it wasn't one thing in a night, it was a number of things. And then when we were all comparing our videos the next day, because there were 3 teams there, 1 person from each team, just like, how have we captured that? That, to me, is it a ghost? Is it the most violent poltergeist? No, because it was just banging, but we can't account for that banging. That warrants me then going back the other 6 times, because I want to know what's causing it, if it's a ghost, or if it's Carol next door. It wasn't Carol next door, she's too far away, because Philip's room is creepy as shit. But I want ghosts to be real. I want to know that when I saw what turned out to be my great-grandfather when I was a kid, I don't want that to be my imagination. For other people that have seen what they think to be relatives, I want that to be real for you. And the more fakery we can weed out, the more misconceptions that we can weed out, the better. Because then we can elevate the paranormal. For example, uncanny. I think uncanny, skeptics and team skeptic, team believer, I think that's fantastic. We need both sides of the argument. Debunking is killing mystery is something that gets thrown around a lot. Is removing false positives destroying a mystery? I don't think so. Because if we look at what the scientific community have put out there, and then we step away from that, and then we try to introduce new things, then maybe we can actually further the field. Because right now, what I believe in the paranormal is a joke. People will look at certain channels and be like, look at this, there's a wire glint. And that ruins it for all of us, not just debunk it. I'm fine, if I see wires, I get a funny video, I get to call people a tit, and onwards we go. But it doesn't elevate the paranormal, and then we're all lunatics. And then it's, for example, I work in a factory, and the guys found out what I do on YouTube, and then it was, so do you believe this? And they're opening stuff, and I'm like, I've debunked them, I've debunked them, I've debunked that. There's the wire, there's that. And then people started to listen to me. And I think we're not trying to destroy the paranormal. We're not trying to call everyone fake. We're trying to point out mistakes. We're trying to point out false positives so people can move away from creating false positives for a better standard of the paranormal. But that, Amy, the right way. So the history of being... That's the wrong key. Sorry, Amy, I fucked that up. What is it? A history of being fooled. So, if you can see those three ladies, there's a pointer on this. They are the Fox sisters, and for decades they convinced the entire world that they could speak to people through the rapping and tapping that still happens now. What they were actually doing is called the hammer toe, or joint manipulation. People have worked ways around it, whether that's with equipment, or rolling their ankle, or popping their hip. But they've fooled people for years and years and years. And that lovely suave-looking gentleman down there is a magician called Harry Houdini. Is Harry Houdini a villain for pointing out exactly what they were doing to people? So we've got the seances, table tipping. If you believe in table tipping, I'm not going to tell you it's all fake. But what I will tell you is I have never seen a convincing table tipping session. I've always seen somebody's thumb hook under a table, or the white on the nails of people where they're pushing so hard because they've got to get this thing to rock and lift. They've only got to do it for a little bit, and then everyone's natural momentum sort of carries on. Have I clicked that again? Yeah. Hey, this thing's broke. I'm lost in myself there. Where's the pictures gone? That's what I wanted. So, seances. Seances have been absolutely disproved by everyone everywhere. I don't believe that. I believe that there is fakery in the seances. I believe something goes on in seances. Is it the paranormal, or is it us? Is it our minds that we, the believers, we want something so bad that we can cause things to happen that are unexplainable? For example, poltergeist activity and things, is that teenage girls normally? That fact isn't completely correct, but it's always puberty. Puberty brings it on, and heightened emotions. And I'm like, does anyone else find it a lot more believable that a ghost is doing it than there's a teenage girl with the powers of the X-Men, like, and there's forks flying around, and but things like spirit photography, that was absolutely 100% debunked. There were so many people making so much money off there. Same as the the ectoplasm. It was proved to be cheesecloth. And doesn't that not make you sick that those people there, their family have looked at that and that's their auntie? And well, it's not. That's somebody pasted two photographs together but a long, long time ago. When the families realise what's going on there, they've been scammed. They've been conned. That's horrible. That's more horrible than me saying, well, that's just two slates put together, or in our time, that's two images cropped and blended. That bottom corner there, the back of the head you can see, because I'm trying not to cause any problems, the back of that head you can see there is a psychic medium. And that psychic medium had been in contact with a dead child, and she knew exactly where this child was buried, who had murdered her. What that psychic medium didn't know was that child in the photograph is actually the woman interviewing her. The lady with her back to us had made hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds. She was all over American TV for decades as a psychic medium. She's claimed to have helped the police, yet no matter how deep I look, the police don't know who she is. So who's worse there? me for pointing that out, or her for destroying people's belief system, destroying people's lives, grief leeching, grief vampires. Uri Geller, the spoon-bending master. As a kid, I loved this guy. And that fine chap with the beard, I hated him. Who are you to tell me that he can't do this on a spoon bend? What a party pooper. Well, that's what I do now. That's what Kieran O'Keefe was doing on Most Haunted back in the day. That's what Dr. Chris French is doing. Alright, my beard's not quite as full, but I'm taller.
There you are.
A little bit. But James Randi was always the villain. But James Randi could recreate the trick. So does that mean he was 100% right? That's exactly what was going on. That Uri Geller was already pre-bent the spoons, and I was going to do this, but I kept snapping them because I'm like just really clumsy. I was going to do the spoon bending. Could Uri Geller have those powers? I would have believed it even over James Randi when I was younger, until James Randi gave him a spoon. Uri Geller couldn't bend that because it hadn't been pre-bred. There wasn't a weak point in the spoon. Who's the villain there? The guy that made millions and millions, was videoed with Michael Jackson. The guy was so famous he would turn up on no matter what TV show you were watching. Uri Geller was there. James Randi wasn't. James Randi was getting death threats. Who's the villain? So, fake or mistaken, when I look around here, there are a number of people that I watch that are probably like, don't look at my channel, don't look at my channel, because they've got a spirit box in their hand. I've got my opinions on spirit boxes. As long as those people don't say 100% this is a ghost talking to you through this spirit box, I don't care. If you believe it, believe it. I don't believe it. But if you're going to tell everybody that that is a ghost and that spirit box is proof, I'll tell you that's just radio stations. And it doesn't sweep backwards, it just scans backwards. Nothing, the words are not backwards, and you can hear tunes and snap the aerial off it. Then if you get a voice, I'll be a little bit more impressed. But for somebody to use that spirit box, that's their belief, and I'm not here to tell you your belief is wrong. But if you're going to tell everyone else that it's 100% communication with the dead, then I'll step in and say, actually, it's not. That's Madonna, still being a virgin 60 years later. So, fishing line. I catch fishing line all the time because people don't understand that when you pull a wire tight, the light will glint off it. Hidden speakers. I've been in a location where I thought I had an experience, and after the fact, I believe there was a hidden speaker. I checked the walls, I checked the toilet, I didn't check the chair that I was sitting on. Video editing. It was a lot more prominent 2 years ago until the likes of myself, The Shape, Dan Dalf, Side Eye Guy, Mike from Real Evidence, until basically we are video editors. We audit video. It's what we're good at. Mike, for example, is far better with sound than I am because he was a sound engineer. I'm a self-taught editor. But what normally shocks people is I have been investigating since Most Haunted started, because I saw Yvette and Derek and Kieran, and I hated Kieran because he was a villain, he was a party pooper. And I'd go out to these places, I'd go down to the local abbey. Me and the boys watch Most Haunted, straight down to the abbey. Where's our knocking? Where's our stone throwing? And then a stone would land. And then you make the giggle because he's just launched it at you. And you're like, well, how can these TV shows, how can they keep having all of this yet we're not experiencing it? So masking will go in with editing, deliberate deception. Warning, we nearly died. No, you didn't. You nearly died last week, the week before, the week before. No. Paid actors. There was a massive debunk probably 2 years ago where a family were in crisis. A child had died, and the debunker found these guys IMDb's. They were husband and wife, but not husband and wife. They were two actors. He found the TV shows they were in. Yet a very large YouTube channel put this out as fact. The entire story was bullshit. And when I saw that, I was so angry at it, because I'm imagining other people that have lost children or family members, and I'm like, these guys have got millions of views off that, yet my mates are getting 100 views because they're honest with it. But then you've got mistaken drafts, building movement, audio pareidolia, visual pareidolia, because you will see faces in things. When I see people mirror scrying, maybe you have seen something, but for the most part, it's your brain filling in the blanks. The expectation. First time I went into East Drive, I was like, don't like it in here. And about 2 hours in, I was like, I still don't like it in here, it's filthy. But then after an hour, most of you that have been to locations, you're like, oh, it feels off. An hour later, you're absolutely fine. You don't realise that you're absolutely fine, but suddenly you're not scared, you're not on edge. And then you watch these YouTubers with millions of views, and they are full on shit in their pants for hours and hours and hours and hours. You're like, well, nobody else does that. Unless you're in abandons, that's different. Abandons are much... Misheard sounds, expectation. So, if I get sent a video, do you think this is fake? And I see things from that right column, I'll email that person back. I'll be like, they're not faking, they just don't know any better. If I see anything on the left, congratulations, you've just earned me about 100 quid. Right, debunking helps the paranormal. So, false positives. I'm not telling you not to use the spirit box. Use it all you want. What I am saying is educate yourself on it. So with the K2 meter, you can use a K2 meter to debunk, or in some cases you can use a K2 meter to catch fakery, because K2 meters are very sensitive around speakers. So if you get a knocking on the wall and your K2 meter's at a constant red, there's a magnet behind there. Bad evidence. In some aspects, we've come a long way in regards to evidence. People are using only the cheap ones, data loggers. They record temperature, humidity. They range from these, which are about £10, up to hundreds of pounds, and you can record shifts in a room. So if somebody suddenly feels cold, if you've got 3 of these, you've got one in a base room, and then you've got one in the haunted room, but off to one side, and then you've got this one right by where somebody's having an experience to say, actually, it's the entire room. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, the temperature's dropped. But if it's just in that spot where somebody's got goosebumps and there's no drafts, you can check for drafts with one of these. I believe that was Justin. You got me onto these? If your doors are knocking and banging, these are 15 quid. Walk around, it'll tell you exactly how fast the draft is, because you can look at wind funnels, not 90 mile an hour like Kieran Keefe said. Fantastic bit of kit used to debunk, not to catch fakery, but to make sure you're not getting something wrong. You can eliminate the bad evidence yourself, and then debunkers never need to look at you. Like I said, there's people in here, you've got channels, I've watched your channels, and you've never featured because you've never done anything wrong. Credibility damage. When people are faking, the legitimate people, even if they're misguided, even if they're making mistakes, you are then ridiculed because of the credibility damage from fakers. Public ridicule. There is a gentleman in the UK, we'll get to that in a little bit, that is affectionately known by 66,000 people as the Tit. Because this man has been under attack for nearly a decade by Vlad the Impaler. He lives in Manchester in a semi-detached house, but Vlad the Impaler is holding him, throwing attic traps at him, throwing stools, throwing his sofa, possessing him, making him write binary on the walls, making him camp in his garden. But when people watch that, because that's far more popular than most of us in this room, and general Joe public that doesn't really believe sees that, that's us then. that all of us are doing that. We are all full of shit. We're all pulling strings, we're all pulling wires. And that's why I think it's important for the debunkers to point that out. And then Mike's done it recently, I did it for a while, where you shout out the genuine teams, you shout out the guys spending thousands of pounds not capturing anything, going to the most haunted places in the UK and not a lot happens, but then there's that big bang that they can't explain. Well, I'll believe those guys that don't capture something every week without fail. If every building you turn up into is knocking and banging and stuff's flying about, I can't believe that, because that's not my experience. It's not the experience of the probably 20 or so channels that I work with now. All legitimate people, and we've all used them. We've all had cat balls, we've all used them. That's how we can form that opinion, is because we use cat balls, we've used K2 meat. I loved my K2 meter. Jason Halls told me that was fantastic. Ask Jason Halls what he thinks of a K2 meter now. He'll tell you to throw it in the bin. Entire field loses credibility, same thing as public ridicule really, but scientists, the interest in the paranormal in universities is on a slippery slope. I personally believe most haunted, ghost adventures, other channels in the UK, I won't say it, on the TV, I think they have irreparably damaged the entire field. Because when there are universities doing tests into the Gansfield experiment that Justin from the Paranormal Monkey podcast went to, when there's a gentleman at the back with Sky Attack, I bought equipment off him. Does it prove ghosts? No. And he doesn't sell it to you as proving ghosts. He'll sell it to you as it proves something happened. So I bought some of these off him last year. They're vibration sensors, but they alarm and they flash. Did a ghost cause it? Well, that's up to me to investigate. This just tells me that something vibrated. I bought these to disprove the pram in East Drive, because I've seen that thing come down the stairs. It happened when I was there. So I placed these on the stairs to prove once and for all that staircase is vibrating when cars are coming around the roundabout and hitting a drain lid, and I was completely wrong. I still don't know what causes that pram to come down the stairs. And I have argued with other debunkers, because they're like, it's just micro movements. And I'm like, right, the last time I went, there was 2 nights, 3 days. That pram was in the same place as the first time I went. I had a camera there, and I had a camera there, and a camera at the bottom of the stairs, and a camera pointing at Philip's room. It didn't move, even with us walking up and down the stairs. At one point we were jumping on the stairs, it didn't move. The buses were still coming around the roundabout. Is it paranormal? I don't know. It's got wheels, so there's a fault. But it's creepy. A child's toy just hurtling itself down the stairs. And it's happened 6 times in a year. Well, if it's micro vibrations, if it's happening because of buses and cars, shouldn't it happen every day? Shouldn't it slowly just work its way forward? Because everyone goes in there, puts the pram in. Alright, some people, the wheels are hanging there. It's not what we did. That to me is interesting. I'm still not prepared to say it's the home of the most violent poltergeist in the world, because I haven't seen that. But it's a creepy house. But science will ignore us because Carl Beatty decided to get pulled up the stairs by a cord. The lunatic fringe. Why are we the lunatic fringe? Because we said, there's a wire hanging off the back of you, mate. Oh no, it's a camera cable. If the camera cable's running up the staircase and that's still black, so it's tied around you, it's still white, that's a rope. Because if my black shirt was to go on infrared, it's a white shirt. Because it removes the colour red. You can't get true black clothing unless it's leather. So your black clothes always look white in infrared. So why was Carl's rope on the inside of him white? There wasn't armoured cable like what was on the stairs in black. It's because it was rope. There we go. My favourite man in the UK, aka The Tit. Now, this is the real villain of the paranormal. This man lives in the most haunted house in the UK. He is haunted by demons, he's visited by aliens, he's been violently savaged by this entity in his home that he thinks is Vlad the Impaler for some reason. Those below him, James Van Der Beek passed away the day before that video was made. Catherine O'Hara from Home Alone fame, the day before that video was made. Nancy, she wasn't even dead at that point, she was just missing. And that gentleman with the glasses on the bottom waits roughly 13 to 24 hours for a celebrity to die before he contacts them through his ITC spirit device. It's a guitar practice amp with pedals on there and some fairy lights and some other crap that doesn't do anything. Who's the villain there? The guy that lives in the most haunted house that should want to get out, but he's extended it 3 times. Has bought a massive camper van. The house looks nicer every time he puts out a video. He's making a killing off it. And people are feeling sorry for him and sending him money and sending him praise. And if any of you are Catholic, you'll be really pissed off that he is wearing rosary beads around his neck with a microphone clipped to them. That's really disrespectful. Catholics really don't like that. He's also the guy that got the Lord's Prayer wrong. Our Father who art in heaven. I mocked him, and then he got it right. But I'm the villain because I mocked him. Why can't I mock that? He's been scamming people for a decade. Why can't I mock the ITC channels? They're worse than him, because they're waiting for these celebrities to die. And a day later, tops, sometimes I think they're still warm. And he's talking to them through sampled voices from interviews. Who's the villain there? Us for making fun of them, so you guys get a good laugh when you're watching it? Or is it them? Because they're the real villains to me. The tit. He makes all of us investigators look back. Those ITC channels, he'll release a series of these. Oh, look at all these celebrities, it'll boost his numbers. But if you're on your grandmother, Ed, that's £700 for an hour. Yeah. Right, so what would convince me of the paranormal? And I'm not talking from my account, I'm talking from you guys. Multiple witnesses, a controlled environment, independent verification, no obvious normal explanation. But I've seen a ghost. And my family didn't believe it until 17 years later, because I woke up as a child and I saw a man. I had a bedroom in my grandmother's house. 80s kids, you had to be a nan. Not because your parents were horrible, because they had to work, both of them. I woke up as a man stood in my bedroom. I was very young. I was watching Return of the Jedi. I pissed the bed. It terrified me. I was 7 years old, 6 years old. My grandfather, he came, bloody hell, he's got a mental in! Proper Valleys man. My nan, because I was a nanny's boy, oh, you leave him alone, he's scared. What I didn't know was 2 years later, my uncle, who was fighting in the Gulf War, had come home on leave and had the exact same experience, and they described the exact same man. My grandparents then celebrated the 50th wedding anniversary, and my nan brings out this photo album. And she says, I've only got one photograph of my dad because he died. And she doesn't ever remember meeting him. I can't remember if he died before she was born or just as she was born. But he died from an injury from a world war. And she opens this page, and I had this cold sweat. And I went, that's him. It's like the green suit. It's not a suit. It's a military outfit. That's really weird. And then my uncle came over. He told my grandmother, and she said, you tell him and I will kill you because you'll scare him. We've both seen the same guy. That's the only photograph my nan had of her father. And she never showed anyone because she never wanted sunlight on it. She never wanted it damaged. And she never put two and two together that what we'd seen was her father. absolutely incredible. For me, you might be sitting there like, no, you didn't. You've just fallen asleep, sleep paralysis, any normal explanation. But for me, that's real, which is why I debunk videos, I'll pull apart YouTube videos, but I won't debunk your personal experiences. I've been asked today, can you have a look at this? I'm like, I'm really uncomfortable doing that, because that's your family. I don't want to take that from you. And in doing everything that I've done so far, I think Mike has received some of these. We have all had death threats. In the 4 years that I've been on YouTube, I have had 9 death threats, and one guy threatened to cut my ears off, which is really specific. He also told me he knew when I was at 30 East Drive and he was going to come and fill me in, and I was like, alright, we'll go outside for 9 o'clock, I'll have a smoke, and we'll have a chat. He didn't turn up. Really weird, that. I've had people threaten to come to my home numerous times, either in emails or Facebook messages, or recently, people putting up videos. I'm coming to your home, I know where you live, people have told me. Which escalated very recently. Somebody actually came to my home, filmed my home, and then sent it to their friends. But then he called me the bully. If I'm such a big bad bully, why did you come to my house? Been told that I'm not allowed to attend events. There was a paranormal convention that some guests were so angry that I was invited that they threatened to pull out of it. So I was told I wasn't allowed to go. It wasn't this one, this was cool. We've had people try to find out what locations we are. Me and Mike specifically have to hide where we are and not do live streams in case people that have threatened us have turned up. I've nearly lost my channel through unfair copyright strikes, privacy violations. I've had false legal documents sent to me. All to silence me for saying, that's a string in that video. Hang on, that's your mate. I know him. Or in Mike's case recently, isn't that you throwing a bottle over the wall? No, it wasn't us. It was. My wife and my daughter, this is the worst one for me. If somebody threatens me, it's fine. I'm an ex-bailiff, good luck with it. But then my wife gets worried that somebody's going to come to the house. Or worse, I'll catch them coming to the house. She doesn't want me getting arrested. All of that happens to all of the debunkers more regularly than we let on. Because we want to further the paranormal field. We want better controls in place. We want you guys not to get laughed at for attending paranormal conventions. But it's not all doom and gloom. On this screen, you see a couple of places that I've investigated with numerous teams. We've got Bristol Paranormal Hunters and Wayne Dawson, P&C Parahistory. I got your name right? Ghosts on Trent. My first visit here last year, obviously Kev could be bothered to turn up. The Paralytic Activity Boys. Some of you guys sat in the audience. That photo of East Drive Kitchen, 2 of those women are witches. I had a whale at the time. I thought it was fantastic. They're doing spirit boards, all the stuff I think is absolute nonsense. But the night went so quick. Meet and greet photos, just all of these people, or most of these people, I've become friends with because of what I do. Not the debunking, the paranormal. Great friends of the Weeds Brothers, Real Evidence. For some reason, Claire is missing there. I haven't cropped her out just so I can have a long time with Mr. Don't Scare Claire.
It's the romance.
And then he stopped playing Call of Duty and I'll never forgive him. We've got Dorset Paranormal, Dead Cold Paranormal, who's now doing his own folklore tales. Paranormal by the Sea, it's Richard Felix. I mean, he's really hard to get a word in around. What a nice man. And we disagree on an event that happened in Derby Jail. He said it was paranormal, I said no it's not. he invited me back to do a meet and greet so people in the Derby area could come and meet me, even though we disagreed. That is fantastic. That, to me, is the paranormal. It's Staffies, you were down there as well. None of these people fake. There's a little girl up there called Cassie May. She terrorises me weekly with Backstreet Boys merchandise. There's a... There's a young lady sat here today that turned up, shaking like a little leaf. I've made you a Beardo bracelet. Why are you scared? She's like, I really like your charm. That's great. The big bad debunker. Kids like me. Maybe it's because I look like Santa. So it's not all doom and gloom. I've made some fantastic friends. I've travelled the UK. If Jason Hawes wins the Conjuring House, which I fully support, I'll be working with Jason Hawes in the Conjuring House. I'll be helping set it up for a more scientific style of investigation. I've had so much fun. The Four Crosses, first time I went there, this place just stinks and there's nothing here. 2 visits after, we're going again because that place is really, really weird. There's something at the Four Crosses Inn. I'm convinced of it. And then, oh shit, Justin, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Do you remember I said I'd get you back for the hair comments? Thank you everyone for listening to me ramble on. I've been shitting myself. I know I'm this overconfident divvy online, but it's so much different looking at you guys. I appreciate all of you, and obviously these guys for allowing a hater. People get scared on Facebook, YouTube. We've now got a web page as well if you want to check that stuff out. And just before I go, if you want to capture EVPs, these are really bad, they don't capture them. But it's honest, and if you do get something on the Zoom H2, it's worth listening to, because this is where my best evidence was caught. Thank you!
One question I'll put here. Did you bring the R60? Right, thanks very much. That's the end of today's talks. Who said no? Do you know something I know?
When you feel it coming down, the Beardo goes around and in a row. Can I get a row? Dressed up like a T-Rex with that perfect strut. All the people in the chat's just going nuts. You need a row. Can I get a row? If you're not feeling well, it's a nice surprise to get her off a Beardo whenever he's live. With those tiny little arms and the flowing tail. If you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself. Can I get a row? You can get a row. The object of the day to put a smile on your face. All the fans know how much he appreciates. You can get a row. If you're just feeling like crap, all you have to do is ask. Beardo's got your back, and just like that, you get a row. Can I get a row?